This may be the one that gets Kathy Engelbert just run out the door. We got two WNBA players talk about betting on a game on video, and the WNBA shared it. It's against their own rules. Like, both of these players probably should be banned for life. That's how serious this is.
That is the sentence that turns a silly All-Star Weekend clip into something the league cannot just laugh off. Because once money, players, and a game they are actually involved in all land in the same video, the question changes from, was this funny, to who approved this?
Leave it to the WNBA to turn a friendly $400 wager into a promoted gambling controversy. So when Paige Bueckers of the Dallas Wings and Angel Reese of the Atlanta Dream sat together during All-Star Weekend and agreed to a friendly $400 wager on their upcoming matchup, nobody in the room back.
And there is the setup. According to the clip being discussed, Paige Bueckers and Angel Reese were sitting together during All-Star Weekend, joking about a $400 wager tied to an upcoming matchup. In the room, it may have felt like playful banter. On social media, it looked very different. That difference matters, because the WNBA is not operating in a normal sports environment anymore. Every league in America is living in the legalized gambling era, where sportsbooks are official partners, betting lines move by the minute, injury reports get passed like stock market filings, and every casual sentence from an athlete can be turned into a gambling angle. So when the league's own account reportedly posts a video that appears to show two stars talking about money and an upcoming game, the optics are brutal. Not because $400 is some massive amount to pro athletes. It is not. The amount is almost beside the point. The point is that the league itself took something that should have triggered somebody's internal alarm and pushed it out like harmless content. And that is why this story is not just about Paige. It is not just about Angel. It is about the WNBA's judgment at the exact moment when the league keeps asking the public to take it more seriously.
Clay Travis shared it. And guys, nobody keeps up with the gambling situations that are going on like Clay Travis. He has for years. The WNBA posted a video of Angel Reese and Paige Bueckers betting $400 on which woman's team would win, then deleted it after it realized this violates league rules. This entire league is run by morons.
That post from Clay Travis becomes part of the controversy because he is not just reacting to trash talk, he is pointing at the league office. His argument is simple. The WNBA posted the video, then deleted it after realizing how bad it looked. That does not prove intent from the players. It does not prove anybody fixed anything. But it does raise a very real question. Who inside the league looked at that clip and thought, yes, that is exactly the kind of thing we should promote? Because sports leagues do not treat gambling language lightly anymore. They cannot. The NFL has suspended players for gambling-related violations. The NBA has dealt with major betting-related discipline. Baseball still lives with the Pete Rose shadow. College sports has spent years trying to educate athletes about what they can and cannot do around betting. So even if the players thought this was a joke, the league is supposed to be the adult in the room. The league is supposed to understand that the public does not see private intent. The public sees video. The public sees cash. The public sees players talking about who wins and who loses. Then the public sees the official league account amplify it. And around the 1 to 2 minute mark, this is the part to keep in mind, because it pays off later. The most damaging piece of this may not be the $400 bet. It may be the fact that nobody in the league's content chain seemed to recognize the problem until after the damage was already public.
That bet still, this is how the rich stay rich.
You gotta save this money. I'm gonna see you next week on Wednesday.
Yeah.
At night?
No, at practice.
Oh, at practice? I mean, I know y'all gonna lose, but if y'all lose,
I get to have that.
If y'all win, you get it 400.
And if we lose,
Is that counterfeit?
No, you owe me 400.
bet I'm staying on it.
I'm surprised it didn't come out of a Monopoly box. I got to keep it real.
That exchange is why the clip traveled. It has the exact ingredients social media feeds on. Cash in hand, stars smiling, a casual tone, a future game mentioned, and the kind of joking back and forth that can be interpreted two totally different ways depending on what you already think about the league. If you are defending the players, you are probably saying, come on, this is clearly not some deep betting operation. It is two young stars messing around at All-Star Weekend. Nobody is calling a sportsbook. Nobody is hiding in a back room. Nobody is moving a line. It is $400 and a joke. That is the strongest defense, and it deserves to be said. There is a difference between a joke caught on camera and a proven gambling violation. There is a difference between dumb optics and criminal conduct. There is a difference between fans yelling scandal online and an actual investigation finding wrongdoing. But here is why that defense still does not save the league from the criticism. Professional sports are not built only on what happened. They are built on what fans believe could have happened. The entire product depends on trust. When a fan buys a ticket, places legal bets, watches a game, or argues about a player's performance, the assumption underneath all of it is that the competition is clean. That assumption is fragile. And once a league lets players appear casual about wagering on their own matchup, even jokingly, it hands skeptics a visual they can replay forever.
By the way, I can't even comprehend how dumb you have to be to post this video from the league's official account. Like sub 70 IQ. And how stupid are the players too? On video bets with cash being shown. Players in the NFL have missed entire seasons for this. Legit the dumbest move potentially in social media history by a sports league to post this.
That reaction is extreme, but the comparison point is not random. In American sports, gambling is the one area where leagues historically overreact because underreacting is more dangerous. You can survive bad officiating. You can survive a messy all-star game. You can survive players arguing with fans. You can even survive ugly media narratives if the actual games still feel legitimate. But gambling cuts deeper because it attacks the scoreboard itself. That is why Pete Rose still gets brought up. That is why Jonte Porter became a warning sign for the NBA. That is why NFL suspensions for gambling violations get treated as league-wide messages, not just individual punishments. Every league wants the same thing on record. There is a bright line, and crossing it is not casual. Now, does that mean Paige Bueckers or Angel Reese should automatically face the harshest punishment possible based only on this clip? That is a much harder claim. Any real discipline would need to depend on the actual league rules, what was said, what was meant, whether money changed hands, whether a game outcome was actually wagered on, and whether the players violated written policy or just created awful optics. But the fact that people can even ask those questions is a league failure. This is not some random fan account that dug up a blurry video from a hallway. The criticism is that the league's own digital operation reportedly turned the moment into content. That means the WNBA did not just inherit the story, it helped create it.
Yeah, Pete Rose is, bless his heart. Rest in peace, Pete. Yeah, Pete Rose. Banned for life. Angel Reese.
Yeah, I'll be requesting my Apple Pay after this. But no, I mean, Paige is a great player. When you, hold her to 16 points, it's tough. She's just so good, and her mid-range is obviously so good. But I think our defense tonight, Rye did a good job, and Borlase when she was thrown at her, and everybody that was thrown at her tonight, I think they did a good job holding her together. But I'm glad we just got this win as a team. It felt really, really good. And just going into the next game, I feel like it gives us a lot of confidence going back.
That post-game comment adds another layer because Angel says she will be requesting her Apple Pay after the win, then immediately pivots into basketball talk. Paige is a great player. Holding her to 16 points was tough. The defense did its job, and the team got confidence from the win. This is where the controversy becomes complicated. On one hand, that sounds like a normal athlete giving credit after a game. On the other hand, the Apple Pay line gives critics exactly what they needed to connect the pre-game joke to the result. Again, that does not prove anything improper happened. It does not prove a real wager was settled. But it makes the original clip harder to dismiss as something that existed only in the moment. And this is the kind of situation a professional league has to anticipate. Athletes talk. Athletes joke. Athletes have personalities. That is part of why fans watch. But league offices exist to know what should and should not become official content. A player can say something careless in a fun setting. A social media staffer can make a mistake. A league can delete a post. But when all three happen in the same chain, it starts to look like a culture problem. Not a criminal culture, not a proven fixing culture, a judgment culture. And that is the early middle angle that keeps this from being just another online outrage cycle. The WNBA is trying to grow at the exact moment when its public-facing operations keep stepping on rakes.
As if the All-Star Weekend wasn't already an embarrassing sham, an embarrassing mockery, an embarrassing sham mockery of sporting competition. You've got this. So if you are Angel Reese, you bet on your own games? Question mark? Apple Pay for what? If this is a joke, betting on a game, this isn't something a professional athlete should joke about. Kathy Engelbert, WNBA, so you're now allowed to wager on games you're playing in. Let's call her Paige Bets instead of Paige Buckets.
Now watch how quickly the audience takes the next step. The online reaction jumps from bad look to do these players bet on their own games? That is the danger zone. A joke becomes a question becomes a narrative becomes the thing people repeat whether the league answers it or not. The league cannot control every tweet, it cannot control every podcast, it cannot control every fan who already dislikes a player and wants to use this as ammunition. But it can control whether it gives those people an easy clip. And this is where the WNBA's recent pattern matters. This league has already been dealing with non-stop drama around officiating, media coverage, player rivalries, fan behavior, star treatment, and the way controversy sometimes seems to overshadow the actual basketball. Whether every complaint is fair or not, the perception is there. Fans feel like the league is constantly putting out fires. So when a gambling-adjacent clip appears, it does not land in a vacuum, it lands on top of everything else. That is why the reaction feels so loud. People are not just responding to $400. They are responding to the feeling that the league keeps wanting the benefits of big-time sports without consistently showing big-time discipline behind the scenes. In a smaller league, a messy post can be waved away as a mistake. In a growing league with more money, more attention, more betting markets, more national debate, and more political and cultural pressure around every star, mistakes get more expensive.
Wow. Does Angel understand Adam Silver has banned players from the NBA for less? He will force Kathy to do something. Reese is really stupid. We'll see. We'll see. Because we have found out the leadership is insane. I mean, it's crazy.
This section is harsh, but the leadership point is the real story. Because if a league wants to be treated like a major professional sports property, the standard cannot be, well, it was probably a joke. The standard has to be prevention. Prevention means athletes are educated before the season on what gambling language is off limits. Prevention means all-star weekend content teams know what cannot be posted. Prevention means editors understand that cash, game outcomes, and active players are not just funny ingredients. Prevention means somebody in approval says, no, cut that part, we are not giving the internet a gambling storyline. That is the part that should bother WNBA supporters, not just critics. If you want the league to grow, you should want the league to be sharper than this. You should want a system where the stars are protected from their own casual mistakes, not exposed by the league's own account. You should want a communications department that understands the difference between viral and combustible, because viral is not always good. Sometimes viral means you just gave your harshest critics a perfectly packaged argument. And the WNBA is in a sensitive position. It is trying to capitalize on an explosion of attention. It has stars with massive followings. It has fans who are new to the product and still forming opinions. It has longtime supporters who are tired of the league being mocked. It has media outlets watching every storyline. It has gambling companies operating in the background of modern sports. The margin for amateur errors is gone. This is not 2004, when a league clip could disappear and only a few message boards would care. This is 2026. A deleted post is not deleted. It is evidence in the court of public opinion.
Idiots. Technically, according to the FBI, this is jailable. The average Somalian is smarter than the NBA and at WNBA execs. I don't know. It sounds like they may have went to the Minnesota Center of Leering to run their league, to get their management classes. The Leering Center. Did Alhan Omar sponsor the WNBA Management 101 program? Certainly, she may be running the social media teams.
The jokes here are aimed at league management, but underneath the insults is a question Adam Silver and Kathy Engelbert would both have to care about. What is the compliance standard? Not the PR standard. Not the can we survive the news cycle standard. The compliance standard. Because if the league has rules against wagering connected to games, then a public clip that appears to show players discussing a wager has to be reviewed. Even if the review ends with no major discipline, it still has to be taken seriously enough for the public to believe the rules mean something. That is the tightrope. If the WNBA goes too hard, people will accuse it of punishing players for a joke and feeding the outrage machine. If it does nothing, people will say the rules are fake and star players get protected. If it only deletes the post and moves on, it leaves a vacuum, and the vacuum gets filled by the loudest voices online. The smart move would be boring, clear, and firm. Acknowledge the video, clarify the policy, explain whether the league reviewed it. Separate joking optics from actual gambling conduct. Remind every player and staff member of the rules. Then make sure this never happens again. But boring competence is exactly what the league has struggled to project in these controversies. Too often the WNBA lets narratives grow for days before the official response catches up. By then, the internet has already written the headline, and that is why this moment feels bigger than the clip. It is another test of whether the league can govern the attention it fought so hard to earn.
Kathy Engelbert. If I'm Kathy Engelbert, I'm like, here's my entry badge. Fuck it. I'm dumb. Because even I wouldn't think y'all are stupid enough to have done this, and y'all did this under my watch. I could see Kathy Engelbert being like, I'm tapping out. I'm going back to the corporate world. I'm going back to where I know everybody's corrupt. Why not?
That under my watch line is the part that lands because leaders get judged not only by what they personally do, but by what their organizations normalize. Kathy Engelbert does not have to personally press post on a social media clip for people to ask why the league operation allowed it. And that is where the late reveal finally comes in. The core issue is not whether $400 makes or breaks anybody. It is not whether Paige Bueckers and Angel Reese were secretly masterminding something, because there is no verified evidence in this transcript proving anything like that. The core issue is that the WNBA accidentally showed the public how unprepared it still looks for the world it is entering. This league wants bigger TV deals. It wants bigger stars. It wants bigger arenas. It wants bigger cultural impact. It wants the respect that comes with being part of the mainstream sports conversation. But bigger attention brings bigger scrutiny. You cannot ask fans to treat your product like a major league and then handle gambling optics like a group chat. That is the mismatch. And honestly, this is why the deletion matters so much. A deleted post is an admission that somebody realized the clip was a problem. But deleting it after the fact does not answer the more important question. Why did nobody realize it before? That is the payoff, not the bet, the process. A healthy league has guardrails. A mature league has internal alarms. A serious league understands that the content team is not just there to farm engagement. It is part of the trust infrastructure. What it posts shapes the public's belief in the product. And once trust becomes the issue, every other controversy gets heavier. Bad calls start looking suspicious. Player jokes start sounding like clues. A normal performance becomes a conspiracy thread. Fans stop arguing only about basketball and start arguing about whether the whole operation knows what it is doing. That is dangerous, even when the original moment was unserious.
Tell me what you think. Adam Silver waking up this morning going, what kind of fresh hell does the WNBA have for me today? Yes, something new, Adam. Peace, I'm out.
That is the perfect closer from the source because it captures the exhaustion around this league right now. Every morning seems to bring a new mess, and the people who actually want to watch basketball are left asking why the conversation keeps drifting away from the court. But there are two fair positions here, and this is where viewers have to choose. One position is that this was overblown. Paige and Angel were joking. The money was small. The tone was playful. The internet grabbed a clip and turned it into a scandal because outrage performs better than context. Under that view, the league should clarify the policy, remind players to be careful, and move on. The other position is that the WNBA cannot afford to treat gambling optics casually, especially when the official account reportedly promoted the clip. Under that view, the amount of money does not matter. The joke defense does not fully matter. What matters is that active players appeared to discuss a wager connected to their own matchup, and the league made it public before apparently thinking better of it. The truth may land somewhere in between. It can be true that this was not evidence of game fixing, and it can also be true that it was a serious failure of judgment. It can be true that fans are overreacting to the players, and it can also be true that the league office deserves criticism for letting the clip go out. It can be true that the WNBA has more attention than ever, and it can also be true that the league's infrastructure is not always moving like a league under a microscope. That is the real story. Growth does not only expose stars. Growth exposes systems. It exposes leadership. It exposes whether your rules are just words on paper or a culture people actually understand. So now the WNBA has a choice. It can treat this as another social media flare-up and hope the next controversy buries it. Or it can use this as a warning that the league's new era requires a different level of discipline. Because once gambling enters the conversation, the benefit of the doubt gets smaller. Fans do not need proof to start questioning trust. They only need a clip that looks bad, a deletion that looks worse, and a league that seems surprised by the reaction. So, what do you think? Was this just a harmless joke that got blown up by people waiting to attack the WNBA? Or was this exactly the kind of moment a serious league has to shut down immediately? Pick a side in the comments, and if you want more no-filter sports breakdowns, hit like and subscribe before the next controversy gets here.